Joe Bags here, and I'm joined by two amazing other Rams YouTubers, and we're gonna just have a conversation about the Rams. Which it's June right now. We're coming into late June, and there is still this team is giving us plenty to talk about. So first we got Payo over on this side over here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for having me on. Excited to talk Rams.
Yeah, always excited to talk Rams. That's the best stuff there. And then Rams House down below. How's it going, man?
It's going really well. Anytime you can talk Rams, I mean, I'm a happy guy. So
yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So I'm going to start this real fast, though, by just kind of trying to get a little bit more knowledge on you guys. I'll give my little story, too, but just a quick couple-minute story of why you started your channels. Not the process, not the recording and all that stuff, but why did you want to get on camera and start talking about this team? Rams House, we'll go ahead and start with you.
The reason that I wanted to start and make my channel is because I realized that when I was talking to Rams to my family, that I was kind of talking their ears off about the Rams, and there was nobody else to talk to but myself about it. And I thought it was really interesting because when I looked up on YouTube, there was not that many Rams YouTube channels. Like I saw yours, I saw Rams Talk. That was pretty much it. And I was like, we need more publicity about the Rams. And I know with like the bigger medias like ESPN and stuff, we don't get a whole lot of coverage compared to like what we do all the time. So I just wanted to make an outlet for other people to hear what I think about them and where I can talk other people's ears off and they're fine with it. So that's the reason that I started.
That totally checks out, man. Payo, what about you?
Yeah, so similar to Rams House, I was one of those people. I watched a lot of YouTube, but I never commented. I never liked on anything. I never really subscribed that much. But I was watching you Ram Showcase, and then I also watched Ram Talks as well. And I just remember searching LA Rams in YouTube or like LA Rams news, and like nothing would come up. Like stuff that was like months old would come up. And so I just got to a point where I'm like, man, like I wish there was more like Rams YouTubers, right? And so I remember after the Jets lost last year, I was so ticked off at Jared Goff. I posted a reaction video, and it was for my friends. It honestly was not from a YouTuber or anything, but I gained like 40 subscribers from that one video, and like I just realized I'm like, okay, you know what? Like there's the people that just want to see you mad because you're a Rams fan suffering or whatever, but there's actually people out there that just want to talk football and talk Rams. And yeah, so that's kind of January I started posting consistently, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Like for myself, I was actually writing about the Rams. I had like just a blog on a website, and I liked doing that. I liked being able to have that and that outlet to kind of talk about the Rams, because very similar situation. Like I used to talk about that I was just unloading all this Rams knowledge on to people who did not care about that knowledge. So, okay, well, there's got to be somebody out there that wants to listen to me, right? So I started writing, and then there was a couple of my articles that they were being misunderstood because I type out and write out how I speak, and without my inflections, I was getting a lot of misunderstood content, and people were, like, what are you talking about? You don't know. Like, so I was like, all right, I need to see these things. I need to just go out and talk about it. And then Ram Showcase was born. It used to be just audio. Then it became a live audio show. Then it became video pre-recorded. And now before the season starts, we will be bringing back live shows again for Ram Showcase. So that'll be fun stuff. It'll be on Wednesdays, but we'll get there when we get there. It's June right now. We don't need live shows. But let's get into the actual Rams football. We've got some new faces this year, but not nearly as many new faces as we've seen in the past couple of years. The last few years, it seemed like free agency was like a big moment for the Rams. This year, not so much. Bring in Stafford, bring in Deshaun Jackson. That was about it. And then you got some lower level roster guys that, might be able to make an impact, but that's yet to be seen. So of this roster right now, it's a large part of this roster is back from a year ago, but is there anybody in your guys' mind that's just not really getting any attention that you think is gonna kind of explode a little bit? We'll start with you, Bayo.
Yeah, there's a lot of players on the Rams that can meet that criteria, because we have so many guys that are in their second or third or fourth year. They're still young, coming into the prime of their career. Like youngest team in the league 24 and a half years old average. I'm going to say a Ram that's actually been around for a while, but people keep forgetting about him. He came over from the Ravens in the Marcus Peters trade. Kenny Young, linebacker. I think he has shown glimpses. He's definitely a big play guy, but he's shown glimpses of consistent play. And I think 2021 is going to be a career year for him. It wouldn't shock me if, he's one of those guys that, keeps consistently winning like defensive player of the week for the NFC. I think Kenny Young is poised for a breakout year.
Yeah, Kenny Young's a good pick. That pick 6 he had against Cam Newton and the Patriots, he was he was just kind of read it, perfect spot, perfect time, and then he was off. I love it. There was actually an article that said that he was like, it was like the 7 potential surprise cuts. He was on that list, and I saw that name, and I was like, these people, they're asking.
Yeah,
they're just.
Yeah, I saw that same list. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Ramjas?
There's a few guys that I think it could be who are kind of underappreciated but could have a big year. I'm first off thinking as kind of a low-key guy, maybe like Van Jefferson, because he was in his rookie year. I think what he is able to do is something that a lot of what I noticed about our wide receivers, and a lot of them do different types of things. And I think this guy can bring something to the offense that we haven't seen in a while. And he does have great route running like Cooper Kupp. But as far as guys who have been here, I think that Sebastian Joseph Day could have a huge year because he's been here for a while. And I think this is his contract year. And I think being able to learn with Brockers and Donald over the last few years, that's going to help him. And he's going to be able to kind of show out what he's able to do. And I also am really excited for Terrell Burgess. I think he can have a big year. He was already doing some big things before that injury happened. So those are my 3 guys, I would say.
Yeah, man, those are actually really solid answers. I mean, Van Jefferson seems to be, I don't want to say like the odd man out, but it seems like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp are very similar in styles. Obviously, we know Deshaun Jackson and Tutu Atwell, very similar styles. And then even you go to our tight ends, Tyler Higbee and Jacob Harris, they seem very similar in their styles as well. And then Van Jefferson's kind of like that guy out. And he was similar to Josh Reynolds from a year ago, but now without that, he is kind of like that one guy. So he's that single style of that player that we have right now. But, we'll see if he gets more involved this year. I know that McVay doesn't use his rookies as much as other teams do. So second year tends to be a bigger year for those guys. Sebastian Joseph Day, that guy's awesome. I think he's been on the uphill for a while now, and it's good to see him. He'll likely get to start this year with, guys like Brockers and Fox leaving, so that'll be cool. Terrell Burgess and actually Jordan Fuller were going to be like my combo answer because, losing John Johnson, that definitely hurts, and we can't pretend that it doesn't because he's one of the better safeties in the NFL right now, but I really think that Burgess and Fuller combo, both going into their second year, I really like that combo. I'm really pumped to see what they can do at that back end there. And Fuller, that's my guy now. I've claimed it. Jordan Fuller is now my favorite.
Number 4.
Yeah, I've decided. Now that Mark Barron's been gone, it's been a treacherous path to try to find a new favorite. But I landed on him. What is your guys' favorite right now? I feel like I know yours, Rams House.
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to pinpoint one. I like Robert Woods a lot just because I feel like as far as wide receivers go, he's not really looked at a lot. And that could be the same for Cooper Kupp too. But I don't know if you guys saw with Peter Schrager, he was ranking like the most underrated wide receivers. He put both Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods on there. So I was glad to see that, but I mainly like him because of the things he does. I think it's nice that he's not always like cocky in people's faces and stuff like that. I like just the way he goes about it. But as far as like players to watch, I definitely like Donald and Ramsey. It's just hard for me every time people ask me what my favorite player is. I don't know if I have one because they're just I like them all for different reasons. But I definitely like Bobby Trees just because I feel like he's just an underrated type of guy.
Bobby Trees, that's such a good answer. He's so. You're right. He's not like ever in the media for anything. We never hear about him. He just catches footballs on Sundays and does an awesome job. What about you, Payo? Who's your guy?
Yeah, so like if you ask me this question an hour from now, my answer might be different. I'm gonna go with a guy just to give him some more love, Darius Williams. I think that he signed the 1-year tenure. And so if the Rams don't renegotiate, he's in a contract year. But in general, I think because he gets to play opposite of Jalen Ramsey, he's going to have an opportunity to impact each and every game. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him develop. And I think our secondary will be elite again next year. And yeah, I would say Darius Williams. You like Donald, you like Ramsey, you like Floyd. You gotta love Cam Akers, and Darrell Henderson doesn't get enough love, but he is a very great running back in his own right. You know what? I'm also gonna say it. Andrew Whitworth. He took a pay cut this year. He's our left tackle. He's 40 years old. Like, you can tell he's only there because he wants to win the Super Bowl. And he believes it in that team. And like, you guys have probably seen the video with him at the Rams practice where he's giving the pep talk to the whole team about like anything you like in your life that you're doing to like gets us to the Super Bowl next year. I'm paraphrasing, but do it, right? And just you love him, and yeah, just love Big Wit.
And how cool would it be to host or to be in the Super Bowl? Because unfortunately NFC is the away team, so we'll be listed as the road team if we do make it there. But how cool would that be to be the second team to play a Super Bowl in your home venue, and not only just a home venue, but SoFi Stadium, which is I'm so excited to see. Are you guys getting a chance to see it this year at all?
I wish I could, but I don't think I'll be able to do it this year. I may look into it next year, but yeah, I think that would, like you've said before, I wish I could just live there. Like, it's just such a cool place I feel like it would just be such a cool place to be, but I don't think I'll go to any of the games this year, but I'm going to see about next year.
You, Payo?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get so I'm an East Coast Rams fan. I live up in Canada. I'm hoping to get to the Indy game or the Giants game, one or the two. But I am hoping to go to SoFi. A lot of it depends on travel restrictions right now and the border. But yeah, I plan on getting to SoFi. Haven't picked the game yet. But yeah, I've communicated with my employment, and they're excited for me to go. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the Jaguars game in December. I think it'd be a perfect time to escape Colorado for a little bit in December and go to Southern California. I think that would be ideal and probably pretty nice little break from the chaos that'll be here. Just so you guys know, I mean, well, I'm sure you know Rams House, but it's the Pikes Peak hill climb was today, and they had to cut off half the race because it was snowing at the top of the mountain. So it's like. So December time, yeah, it can get a little bit chilly, and LA would be, I think, probably pretty nice in that time of year.
I might be at that game, so if I'm there, I'll let you know.
Yes, definitely. And then I mean, I'll be in Denver for that preseason game. Just it's up the road for me, so
that's cool.
I can't wait for that Broncos one, even though it's just preseason.
Yeah, that's one of those where it's like I don't even care if we win, lose, whatever. I just want to have an awesome time. The last time that the Rams were in town, it was 2018, the Super Bowl year. Such a fun game. It was a high of 22 that day out here, and I was outside. I showed up at like 7:30 in the morning, and I think I left at about 9:30. So I was just outside that entire time, just freezing, and I was just miserable. I got back in my truck and just like all sore. But it was an awesome time. We ended up in the second half. We were second row behind the Rams bench, so it was just awesome. JoJo Natson's pointing at us and dancing. It was cool, man. It was an awesome time. What's up?
Sure. I know we didn't discuss it, but I have a question for you two. I'd really love to know your answers to.
Yeah.
Going into camp, there's a couple position battles in play, but probably the most interesting one is who is going to be kick return and punt return. And do you guys have a favorite, that you would like to see win that role?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I just want to see Deshaun Jackson there.
Okay.
I like his experience there, and I kind of felt like, and I don't know if it's true yet. It kind of feels like maybe it's not, but it kind of felt like bringing him in was for that role. It's been a nervous spot for the Rams for a long time. I'm sure I'm not the only one who every time we're getting a return, it's like, oh, don't drop this ball. And even guys like Cooper Kupp, who like we trust and we like and everything, like he gets the ball, but then he'll get hit and fumble it. And it's like, You know, and that goes back like to Tavon days where it's just nerve wracking to watch those. So I would like to see a guy who's experienced there. He knows what he's doing there, and at the very, very least, he's just gonna hit north and get what he can. So I like that.
Yeah, I actually remember from one of your Rams showcase episodes, you were talking about like, I trust Cooper Kupp. He's not going to fumble it. Then the very next game, you fumbled it. You're like, I'm sorry, guys, that's on me. Yeah, I know that I'm always nervous about the punt returning, kick returning. I think that Jackson's definitely the safe one because I look forward to a guy like Atwell in the future, although he's like a smaller type of guy. But like the more I'm thinking about it, like right now, I'm not sure how good he would be, or because he doesn't have that much experience in that spot. So I would probably look towards somebody like Deshaun Jackson. And I'm not sure if they're intending on using anybody from like their draft picks there. I don't know, like Jake Funk or something like that. It'll be interesting to see, but I think that one of my least favorite things to see, obviously, from our kick returners like Simba Webster, was first, if you remember from that Jets game when he was returning it, he could have taken it back and he just ran into the punter. That's annoying, but that was like the only play where he just ran straight and just went as far as he could. But he always, if he didn't fumble it, he would always go like back and forth, just side to side, side to side until he found something. So as long as we get a guy who can hold on to it and just like go as far as you can, don't try to do anything too special all the time, I'm happy with that. But yeah, I would probably say somebody like Deshaun Jackson too.
Yeah, it's I have an odd knack of doing that where whatever I say, the opposite happens. I've been so adamant on certain times, like oh, there's no way we get a Aqib Talib. Stop paying attention to that. And then like a day later, like okay, and then like oh no, there's no way we sign Ndamukong Suh. Like we don't need him. It's not, and then sign him. I put out a whole video of like, oh no, like there's no reason that we would go Deshaun Jackson. It just doesn't make any sense. And it was like a week later. And then I tried to do it with the Julio Jones thing, where it's like, no, there's no way that Julio Jones comes to the Rams. And then the very next day, the odds that the Rams got him jumped up by a bunch. And then I got excited. So I started talking about that. And then we fell out of it. And it was like, okay, I'm apparently connected into the universe in some weird ways that I don't understand yet. But maybe I'll say there's no way the Rams win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So we talk about how awesome this team is, obviously. We're doing like we've been Rams fans for a while. We've sat through the dark era, as I call it.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of rough times there. But the fortunes have changed. You know, Sean McVay comes in and day one, he changes the entire culture. Everything just kind of shifts. But there's got to be something here that we're maybe a little bit biased on. So what would you say is the Rams' weak spot right now, Payo?
Yeah. I have kind of two trains of thoughts. The first one is like the easy answer is I don't like our interior O-line is not necessarily a weak spot, but it is a unproven spot. That center battle position, you're not sure who's going to take it. It looks like it's going to be Corbett. But again, you never know. And then I would say like in terms of just like overall a weak spot is the Rams have so much dead cap. Like so much dead cap, right? And like it's hilarious. It like somehow we're still good, which is great. But like the fact that we're paying Jared Goff and Todd Gurley and Brandon Cooks this year, and they're on other teams, like if it wasn't for having Stan Kroenke as an owner, not many owners would let your team have that kind of dead cap, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think it shows how much Les Snead and Sean McVay are trusted, and especially like to move on from the Goff and take that huge cap hit. That's I don't know. There's just some like kind of weak spots of like maybe you're giving these contracts out a little too early in players' careers. But at the same time, like the Ramsey contract and like the Donald and the Robert Woods and the Cooper Kupp, like wouldn't trade them for the like I want them on my team, right? So there's some of my kind of criticisms.
I didn't think that anybody would go like off field stuff, but that's a very real answer. That's like that is a weak spot. And one of these days coming up, we're going to suffer that consequence. We'll have a couple of down years. It's fine. It's fine.
We've already been through St. Louis days.
What's that?
We've already been through the St. Louis days. We know it's like we're equipped for that, you know?
That's true, but maybe I'm getting a little selfish now. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
quickly I turned and it was like, oh, now the Rams are the best, you know, because it was like so long. It was just like it was so humbling to be a Rams fan. You know?
Yeah.
You couldn't talk trash to anybody. We could
Yeah.
only beat like the Saints that one year, like when we just beat the Saints and the Browns, and it's like, hey, we did it, like we beat them. Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that. What would you say our weak spot is right now?
I would say going into 2021, the main issue that we had last year, and I think that this will definitely change just because of the quarterback change, was the efficiency in the red zone and on the goal line. I felt like there were so many possessions, like especially I'm trying to remember what game it was, but I remember one play where Cam Akers was running in. He was like so close to the end zone, the ball got hit out, and I was like, we were right there. Why didn't we just like reach over the goal line? I think getting that red zone efficiency back up to what it was before, because I think that's kind of been something in McVay's career that he still has to work on, obviously. But when we had Todd Gurley, it was kind of an easy answer. You could just run it with him, or you could just pass it to him. But I know last year that I felt that like so many of the plays where we were in the red zone or on the goal line, we couldn't convert. And I was like, really, I don't want another field goal. Then we didn't get the field goal because we kept missing them. And so I definitely think that the red zone efficiency was the issue last year.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully with Stafford coming in, those fortunes kind of change. I know I've talked about it quite a bit on my show of how different it's going to look. I really anticipate just a dramatically different looking offense because, you know, Sean McVay had to be Jared Goff's eyeballs out there. He had to tell him what kind of situation he was in. We saw what Jared Goff did without a Sean McVay, which was 0-7 and looked rough. You know, his rookie season under Fisher, I mean, of course, not all those were under Fisher. We know that Bones took over for a little bit there in those final three, but I know it was rough. And you saw that sometimes. I've talked about it plenty of times too. Like you feel like on the first Rams drive, we knew what kind of game we were going to have. If Goff threw 3 incompletions, it's like, oh man, like this is going to be a rough one. And then if you converted a couple first downs, like, all right, well, we're just going to win. Like it's going to be fine. But going from Goff to Stafford, you cannot argue with me about that not being an upgrade. It is clearly an upgrade. How much, I don't know, but on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you guys put like your excitement level of going from Goff to now we're going to see Stafford running this offense? We'll start with Rams house.
20. I would say a 20. No, I'm actually really excited for him. Initially, when I saw the trade up and I didn't know what to think because I didn't know how much the cap hit would be and I didn't know how good Stafford was because I'm not sure of like what all of you guys thought of him, but I know like most of the other people, you didn't really know who he was too well because they weren't getting much attention. Obviously, you don't really watch the Lions if you're a Rams fan. So I was like, okay, I think anything's better than Goff as far as like under pressure and stuff like that and what we were witnessing. And then when I really looked into him and then looked at what McVay could do, and then obviously McVay's really giddy right now. Like he's just gushing over Stafford. I think that makes me excited to see what he can do. So I'm a 20 out of 10.
That checks out. Payo?
Yeah, I don't want to one up Rams house just because I believe we're on the same level. So I'll say 20 and beyond, same thing. Like I am so stoked for Matthew Stafford to be our quarterback. I want to acknowledge that Jared Goff brought stability to that position, and like I think when the trade happened, it was really easy to trash Goff a lot, but like I acknowledge he did some great things. And if you look at like the quarterbacks before Goff, thank you, Jared Goff. Thank you. However, Stafford comes in with, I think, better arm talent, but more importantly, just better football IQ. And, Stafford's going to be able to read defenses in a way Goff just never could. And that's why Goff, if you look at his turnovers, so many of his turnovers were just terrible throws or a fumble, where a lot of Stafford's turnovers, if you watch his turnover highlights, it's because he's trying to make a play, like forcing it down the field, right? I'd rather have that, right?
Yeah.
than just a bad decision where like your second and third read got taken away, so you go back to your first read when you shouldn't have, and then you throw it anyway. But I'm really excited for Stafford. I love, just when you see him in interviews now, you see an energy in him that like he knows the Rams gave up a lot to get him. He's here for a Super Bowl. He's not here to win 10 games and then get out in the first round of the playoffs. It's Super Bowl or bust. And I think that the Rams have a Super Bowl window, 3 to 4 years with Stafford, if not more. Let's hope for more. But realistically, you're in kind of that 3-year window. And I think Stafford, he has the right mindset. And if you like, I've watched a good amount of Stafford, not a ton, but if you look at him from when he was like his last days in Detroit, the guy is re-energized and like he sounds like a rookie that just got drafted.
Yeah, it is such a welcome change to see, because like I said, like Stafford comes over with this experience, like he can, in those critical situations, couple minutes to go in the game, and we're down by a few points or something, he can go over to Sean and say, hey, I'm seeing this, like what can we do? This guy's doing this, like this is happening over here. So I don't think Jared was able to do that. Like Sean McVay had to be the one saying, hey, I'm seeing this, I need you to do this kind of thing. So I think that dynamic will change a little bit. Just got 2 more quick ones, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. All right. So first, Rams are getting a new alternate uniform next week, or next month, I mean. Somewhere between that time. And I'm super excited about it. I've got money stashed away. I'm going to get whatever style it is. I don't care. It's going to be perfect because it's for the Rams. I'm getting a Stafford for that. But I want to see just real fast, what do you guys expect out of these? And what do you guys want out of these? We'll start with Payo.
I think they're going to be highly criticized because whenever the Rams release anything rebranded, that's the way
the
that
Rams
it is.
Fan base.
Yeah. I think they're going to be really like if you look at like their current like new uniforms that came out this year, a lot of them were kind of SoFi branded, like they kind of go with SoFi in a lot of ways. I think they're going to be drastically different. I think they're going to be a lot more white than blue or gold, and that's kind of my guess for it.
Okay, and I want to see the yellow. I expect a yellow. I want to see the yellow, so I'm in for it.
I'm hoping for don't get me wrong, I'm hoping for like a colorful one, but I'm kind of thinking they're gonna try to pay a little more homage to the Rams of old with their alternative, like the Fearsome Foursome era.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Rams House, what do you expect? What do you want?
I both expect and want yellow as well. I think seeing the yellow that they have almost on their horns, or I guess the sole is what they call it, just putting that where the Royal was last year, just have blue numbers. And then I think it would be cool to see a yellow helmet with blue horns, but obviously the helmet rule is where you can't really have a different helmet. Yeah. But I think, all yellow with the blue numbers, blue stripe. I think the numbers would look like almost like the bone numbers that you have in the back there. That's just all blue. And I think that would be really cool to see also, because I think just the yellow color rush uniforms that we had before, I loved those. There's just something about that Rams yellow I like. So
same, that was my favorite. I've got my custom Sheriff Joe Bags jersey in the closet of that one. That's one of my favorite ones. And then the bone, you're right, that's another Sheriff Joe Bags one. It's one of my favorites as well. But I just want everybody to know, if at any time next year we see a yellow jersey on bone pants, I'm in love with it. All right, then I'm stoked, because last year seeing the bone on the yellow pants, I ate that up against the Jets. I loved it. I know we played awful that day, but that combo just looked so nice to me. It had the helmet was perfect with it. The bone jersey, I love the yellow pants. It was all perfect. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up with this one. This team has changed so much over just the last 5 years. So going from St. Louis to LA, that's obviously a massive change. Midwest to Hollywood. And then you get these new uniforms. We had a flashy new stadium. Our helmets are even shinier now. We got a fancy new coach who doesn't blame the players for everything. And there's so many different things that are happening right now, though. But what is your favorite aspect of this new era of Rams football, Rams House?
I would say just the fact that first the team's getting more recognized. Obviously, I would stay with them through and through if they aren't getting recognized. But I think it's cool that there's first. It's like every year now we're getting maxed out primetime games, which didn't happen before. I think just giving people more exposure to them and being able to like them and growing to like them is cool. And just like obviously when you have a stadium like SoFi, that's cool. And you can either like or hate the Rams uniforms, but it's just cool to see when you've been through like the bad times of the team and everybody's trashing them and it feels like you're the only Rams fan, and then this happens, then it just seems like there's a lot more exposure, and then they start winning, then more people start to join. I know there are those bandwagons that join then leave after that, like you're talking about. But yeah, I think it just getting more publicity, more people joining to the Horns, because honestly, it's the best team in the whole world. So yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Absolutely. Payo.
Yeah, I very much agree with Rams House, but I would add to like the new era expectations. Like I remember as a Rams fan, late 2000, early 2010s, you were like, okay, if we could just like make the playoffs, like that'd be cool. Like a winning record, like that'd be great. Like I'm sick of the 7-9 jokes. And like, yeah, like I think like once Sean McVay got hired, I mean, they went from a 4-win team to like an 11-win team, right? Like such a drastic turnaround. And I think that just like having that expectation of like, okay, the teams that like we're supposed to beat, we're going to beat. And like minus that Jets loss and a Bears loss from a couple of years ago, most of the teams that we're supposed to beat, we've beaten, right? And like one of the things I love about Sean McVay as a coach, you can criticize him for sure for some stuff, but one thing you can't criticize, the guy knows how to close out a game. Like that's why, like I think is it like 27-0, 37-0, something like that. Like if he's leading at halftime, he has not lost yet, and I think that's just because he knows how to make those halftime adjustments to, okay, we're winning this game, let's not lose the game now.
Yeah,
because so many times with like Fisher or Spagnuolo or Linehan, the Rams would play like a good first half, and like I remember Sam Bradford lighting it up in first halves, and then the Rams would just blow it in the second half. So I love how like the expectation has just been raised to, no, like we're gonna be a winning team every year, and like we need to at least be a wild card, if not win our division. And the expectation is Super Bowl or bust. And I love how they're all in every year.
Yeah, so for myself, I just love the flashiness of this entire team right now. I love I know that the logo gets a lot of hate, but I kind of like that it's just a little flashier, and I like that with the Chargers coming to town, that the Rams kind of stepped in and stole the LA aspect and adding that to our logo. Like before they could do it, before they could take LA and add it to their logo, we went ahead and did it. I don't think it's going to last forever, but I like the colors. I like the flashiness of them. I like that we went with like a bright gold and like a lighter blue. I expected a yellow, but I thought we were going to go with that same darker blue that we've been using. Flashy new beautiful stadium that's hosting the Olympics and like Motley Crue shows and stuff, which is going to be really cool. So yeah, I just love the obnoxiousness. I'm a fan of the obnoxious, I guess you could say. So so that doesn't hurt my feelings at all, that my team that I've loved for so many years is kind of hopping on that a little bit. But we'll go ahead and wrap this up, guys. But we need to know, everybody needs to know where we can find you, any kind of social media, YouTube channel, anything. We'll start with you, Payo.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I pretty much you can find me on YouTube. Payo Time is my name, and then I do have Twitter and Instagram, but all my good stuff is on my channel, and I do a lot of Rams kind of fandom and celebration, and at this point in the off season, a lot of Rams speculation as well.
All right, yeah, Payo Time. Everything will be linked down below in the little, not comment section, the description.
The description.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There you go.
Everything will be down there, so you guys can find links there. But Rams House, where can we find you?
Okay, so I just pretty much post all my stuff on just the Rams House YouTube channel. Just 2 words, Rams House, easy as that, just like the chant. And I just post everything Rams on there, just like you guys do. So that's the only place you can find me at.
Absolutely. It's there's never too much Rams content out there.
Mhm.
You guys are a little bit more, I think, consistent with the pumping out more videos more often. You know, I tend to go with the big show and then cut that up a little bit. But
That's a good style though.
Yeah, I like
if you guys the one a week thing is not enough for you guys, these are two channels that will kind of quench that thirst for you guys throughout the rest of the week. And also places you guys can just subscribe and just keep watching also. And then we'll have conversations throughout the season as we go on, which is going to be awesome stuff. But for myself, guys, it's at Ram Showcase on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/Ram Showcase. You can follow myself at Sheriff Joe Bags on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/Sheriff Joe Bags. Of course, the Ram Showcase YouTube page. That's where the most of the attention's going right now. We'll be bringing back live shows pretty soon. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We should definitely do more of this in the future.
I
Round
absolutely
table.
agree. We'll get some other guys on here too, because there's some other guys that we're missing that we could have like a bigger conversation that could be fun. So that'll be
Big
super.
family.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, but that is going to do it for this little, I guess, a round table in the sorts. We were just kind of BSing a little bit about the Rams, but that's good. But yeah, that's going to do it for myself, Sheriff Joe Bags, Payo Time, and Rams House. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you guys so much for listening. You guys have a great night.